It's Over Opinionated. Over Opinionated with Josh Scott.
It's a madhouse indeed. Welcome back to Over Opinionated. Man, we haven't had a spiritual podcast in a while. Hopefully we will next week. The last 3 weeks in American politics has been a madhouse. That small little clip was Charleston Heston in the first Planet of the Apes movie. And that's the only words I could pick for what's going on. So, since we've been back, the last episode was about the Trump assassination attempt that failed. We had the RNC, where Donald Trump picked his candidate, J.D. Vance, the first-time senator from Ohio, only serving 2 years in the Senate so far. He got famous mostly for writing a book called Hillbilly Elegy, where he writes about him growing up in the Appalachian Mountains, the same beautiful mountains that I have been living in for these last 28 years and that I was born in. So, and I've got to be honest, I've read JD's book. I read it a few years ago before he ran for Senate. And it is a great book. A lot of people don't like it because he points out a lot of problems that we have in Appalachia. But all those problems are true. And I finally got around to watching the movie this week. And, man, watching that movie, the book is always better than the movie. It's more detailed. But watching that movie really puts into perspective everything he's overcame. A lot of people don't like the book because he writes about the drug problems in Appalachia, but I love Appalachia with all my heart. I love these Appalachian mountain people. I am one. But does that mean we don't have problems? Yeah, we got problems. Let's not avoid them. Let's try to address them. Do we have problems in Appalachia with drugs and substance abuse? Yes, we do. I've known people, I've seen people, and just from a personal note, I'm not trying to say that I do relate to J.D. Vance. I'm not saying my life was as hard as his, but his mom struggled with drugs. My mom struggled with drugs. He had a pretty rough upbringing. He had a worse upbringing than I did. With my mom and dad's divorce situation, it was hard, very hard. Now, JD didn't have a dad growing up. I had a dad and a great stepmom, thankfully. And JD had his grandma. But man, as I'm watching this movie, as I'm reading that book, it's hard for me not to get teary-eyed because I know how it is to be 10 years old, to be 8 years old, to be 5 years old, to see your mom. You don't know what's going on, but she's strung out on drugs. You don't know what's going on, but you're going for a horrible divorce. In his case, he doesn't have a father. Man. And for him to come from that in the Appalachian Mountains in Ohio, out of high school, he joins the Marine Corps, Semper Fi. My grandpa's a Marine, so thank you very much for your service. And he fights in the Iraq War. And uses the GI Bill to go to college and have it paid for. 100% he deserves it. Goes on from college, goes to Yale and gets a law degree. Yale is an Ivy League school, one of the best schools in the United States of America. All college degrees are amazing, but Yale is one of the top tier of the top tiers. Becomes a political analysis, runs for Senate, not state Senate, runs for Senate, wins, and becomes the vice presidential nominee for one of the two main political parties in America. That only happens in America. Being dirt poor to a senator to a vice presidential nominee being one heartbeat away from the presidency, only in America. Amazing story. And I love J.D. Vance. I do have some problems with his pro-life stance, him being supporting the abortion pill. I have a problem with Donald Trump supporting the abortion pill, and we're going to get to abortion a little bit later. But the RNC was a pretty good convention. I had a couple problems. They took out pro-life language, and we used to support the Life Amendment that says all life is precious, and we want to ban abortion with the exception of rape, incest, and life of the mother in all 50 states. They took that out. They said we're going to leave it up to the states, but we're against late-term abortion, and we support IVF. I have a lot of problems with that, guys. I do. I'm sorry. I have a lot of problems with that, because when you say that you're just going to leave it up to the states, and listen, I'm a states' rights guy, and I'm a Southerner, so I'm definitely a states' rights guy. But as a Southerner, I know how states' rights was misused, but I also know how states' rights can be used in a good way. But what you're saying is babies conceived in Alabama matter more than babies conceived in California. That's what you're saying. Whatever state you live in is what determines your baby's worth. I say your baby's worth is determined because it's made in the image of God. It's because it's not only that, but biologically speaking, it's a human being, and it deserves to live and not die. I believe we should ban all abortion pills, because that's what the vast majority of abortion is an abortion pill. 2/3 of babies are killed by the abortion pill. And don't mistake Plan B for the abortion pill. Number one, I think they're both bad. I don't like them both. But the abortion pill kills a baby after it has been conceived. The Plan B is a little bit different, but it's still not a great thing. So Plan B is something you take after having unprotected sex and you weren't taking birth control. You go to Walgreens or somewhere and pay $50. How do I know how much it is because I've had friends tell me about it, and it disgusts me. And then you give it to your girlfriend, or she buys it, takes it, and it's supposed to prevent a pregnancy. Not a big fan of it. It can cause a miscarriage because it closes up the uterus from receiving a fertilized egg, and that can happen. Not the same thing as an abortion pill. An abortion pill causes a miscarriage, and it can, most of the time, it can be taken till the 11th week mark. So, but we're already 7 minutes in, so I've got to get to the biggest news in American history. Well, let me restate that. Some of the biggest news in presidential election history. Joe Biden has dropped out of the race. That's huge. He's had a lot of pressure on him. Big names in the party like Chuck Schumer, former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, Jakeem Jeffries, forgive me for mispronouncing his name, the new minority leader of the House, the new Democratic leader in the House of Representatives, want him to step down. His White House was leaking like an awful faucet. So really the only thing that was pretty obvious that was keeping him in there was his family, Jill and Hunter Biden. And Joe just, he sat down, I guess. People were telling him and asking him. His money, his donors wasn't supporting him as much. And when the money runs dry, it's over. And it wasn't completely over. He still had some money coming in, but he was getting a lot less money. Obama wanted him to step down. Obama is a huge name in politics still. He can't run for the White House anymore, but Obama has a lot of influence on the Democratic Party. And so he steps down and endorses his Vice President Kamala Harris. And so, with Joe Biden stepping down, what does that tell me? It tells me that he knew that he couldn't beat Trump. He saw the poll numbers. Trump is winning in the Commonwealth of Virginia, my home state. And I'm hoping that we win. We might not. But we got a doggone good chance. We got one of the best chances we've had in the last 20 years to get a Republican to win the Commonwealth of Virginia. And if you're listening and you're not involved in politics and you live in Virginia or anywhere else, please register and please go vote. We need you to go vote. Even you don't got to be in a political party, but go call people. Tell them they got to go vote. You know, I haven't campaigned a lot in about a year, but I still go vote. I still encourage people to vote. Voting is important. We need to vote, guys. We have to vote. But Joe Biden has dropped out and endorsed Kamala Harris. And why is Kamala Harris the vice president? It's pretty obvious. You can call me a racist. You can call me a sexist. I don't care. President Biden said on the debate stage that when he picked his vice president, that he was going to pick a African American or a person of color and a woman. And when he put himself in that box, he didn't have too many choices. If he would have just said woman, he would have had a lot of decent choices. But he said African American woman. He made it so specific. If he said African American, he would have had more choices. He limited himself so much. And then he said the same thing about the Supreme Court. So if Kamala Harris goes on and wins this nomination, she probably will, at the convention, guess what? Guess what? And if she loses to Donald Trump, it will be the left getting exactly what they deserve with this forced diversity bullcrap. And I just want to say, I like diversity when it happens naturally. I like people coming from different backgrounds, this or that. And you know, being as a Christian and from the house of the Lord, our history is very diverse. We have tons of different people from tons of different cultures worshiping God in tons of different ways, different music styles, different cultures, different dress, different languages. Christianity's, if you want to see diversity, you better look at Christianity. And oh no, they're just all white people. Number one, no, they're just all white people from Europe. Number one, not everyone from Europe's the same. That's like saying everyone from Africa's the same. Number two, Christianity started in the Middle East. The first Christians were Middle Eastern and Jewish people. And yeah, it branched out and people in Europe got saved. But people in Africa got saved and people in Asia got saved. And in India, there's some, St. Thomas went to India. I'm just saying, Christianity is not the quote-unquote white man's religion. You're going to have to take that up with the history books. And now, does that mean there weren't a lot of white people that converted to Christianity? Of course not. But what about Ethiopia? What about the Indian Christians? What about the Middle Eastern Christians? I'm just saying, diversity can be beautiful, but forced diversity is just racism. It is. It's and it cheapens.
Let's take a quick break.
Has anybody ever told you you were over opinionated? How about this one? You can talk about everything you like, but don't talk about religion, don't talk about faith, don't talk about politics. My name is Darrell McLean, host of Darrell McLean's Show, and I want to introduce you to a show called Over Opinionated with my friend from Southwest Virginia, Josh Scott. Josh has always been told he has been over-opinionated. He always tried to hold back these opinions, but he tried to back them up when he had to say something with facts and logic. Since he's grown up in many ways, he had to change a lot of his views and his opinions, as a lot of people should. He's not a millionaire from Fox News or CNN. He's just a hard-working, blue-collar type of guy. give Josh Scott a shot at Over Opinionated with Josh Scott. You can find him on patreon.com/overopinionated at 679. You can also check him out on Twitter at NRV_guy79. Over Opinionated with Josh Scott, where he is this soft-spoken guy telling you the truth.
People of color's goals. I mean, if just like what happened with the college admissions, a lot of African Americans, if they got into a school, now, did they get in on their merits, or did they get in because of their race? Sometimes it was their merits, sometimes it was their race. It's really an insult. It's truly an insult. I remember my super liberal high school history teacher. He'd always say, conservatives that are against diversity when it comes to college admissions, the only people, the majority of people that would get in college admissions would be Asians. And I was like, yeah, because they work freaking hard when it comes to education. Let them in. You know how freaking racist it is to have a curb like that on the basis of race. Thank goodness that affirmative action is gone. But forced diversity is just a bunch of bullcrap. Best person for the best job. That's what it should be. Well, but people have privileges and through history and all that. Yeah, some of that's true. But are we supposed to erase that by using the government to be unfair to people now? And it's not good. It's not good for the soul of America. The best person for the best job. In politics, the best person for the best job. No matter what your race or gender is. If it's a white guy, then it's a white guy. If it's a black girl, it's a black girl. But we gotta stop using this forced diversity. I hate forced diversity. I like natural diversity, true diversity. And the best person for the best job. So if Democrats lose this election, it's just because, number one, they've done a horrible job these last 4 years. They've ran a abysmal campaign. Listen, Donald Trump, as much as we may dislike him or like him on the right, it's not like he's a campaign genius. You look back at 2016, Trump did not run a stellar campaign. It was not that great, actually. It was just Hillary Clinton was one of the worst candidates ever. 2020, Trump also didn't run that. He might have ran a little bit better of a campaign, but still wasn't great. And COVID, the Democrats were able to, and I'm not saying that they quote-unquote stole the election, but they were able to rig up some rules in Democrat-leading states because of COVID. 100% happened. So what we're seeing here is something that's a little unprecedented. We have something that was similar with LBJ. LBJ stepped down and didn't seek his party's nomination, but but it wasn't because of his cognitive decline. It just wasn't. And this is my question: if Joe Biden is not mentally fit to run for president, is he mentally fit to be president for 7 more months? Because he's going to be president until July 20th. If he's not fit to run for office, how is he fit to finish his term? When we have a super aggressive Russia and Ukraine, when we have China looking to take back over Taiwan, when we have all these international crises, when we have Israel at war with Hamas. How is Joe Biden still fit to be president? We all know that he goes to bed at 8 o'clock, no matter what. So if you're Putin, do you just wait till 8:01 Eastern Standard Time to make a march further into Ukraine? I mean, he should resign. He's not there. We have known he has not been there for 4 years, and the media have lied for him. They have covered for him. Joe Scarborough has lied for him and covered for him. He was a cheerleader, and I've seen Democrats be upset at the way the media is covering the president now. How do you think Republicans always feel? We are always getting hit hard, and they're just asking you fair questions. Joe Biden, you can't complete a full sentence. Why can you have the nuclear codes? Well, I was eating puppies with buffalo sauce the other day. Well, that doesn't make any sense, Mr. President, to what I just asked you. So it's insane. The only reason Donald Trump lost the 2020 was COVID. If it wasn't for COVID, he would have been a 2 consecutive term president. But it looks like Donald Trump is going to be the second person in the history of the United States to serve 2 terms non-consecutively. It'd be him and Grover Cleveland. And I feel good as a Republican for the most part. I will say I'm disappointed about the weak stance on abortion as a Christian, but we're not going to quit fighting for that. We're not going to quit fighting for unborn babies, and if we have to, I don't think it's got to this point yet, but if we have to teach the Republicans a lesson by staying home in election or making a third party, we can do that. I don't want to. I don't think we've got to that point yet. J.D. Vance said that there will always be a home for social conservatives in the Republican Party. Some people have criticized that and said, well, that's not nice because we've built the entire society. We should be the Republican Party. I take a middle road approach. I don't love it, but I am happy that we will always have a say in the party. And let's use that say to, save babies, to grow American influence culturally, and to promote Christ. That's crazy. It's a crazy world. I think back to Joe Biden telling George Stephanopoulos that he would only step down if God told him to step down. I doubt that God told him to step down, but I say the donors and all the pressure in the DNCs, maybe that's Joe Biden's God. Maybe his God did tell him to step down. I hope not. Maybe I'm being cynical. But I still pray for the president. He's going to be president for 6 more months. America's going to be heading into a big election. Kamala's going to have to make her VP pick. And listen, the delegates don't have to vote for her. They can vote for anybody. So I'm interested to see I'm interested to see what's going on with at the convention. It's as Charles Heston once said, it's a madhouse, and it is a madhouse. But man, it's fun to watch, isn't it? Just as a Politico, I'll say with the exception of the assassination attempt, that was horrific and terrifying. But just as a Politico and as a Republican, with the exception of the assassination attempt, it's been interesting. It's been fun to watch. We may never see it again. So I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the Biden debacle. I'm enjoying the media looking like a bunch of jerks like they deserve after lying for President Biden for almost 4 years, with Joe Scarborough getting up there and saying this is the best version of Biden. We knew you were lying, but the saddest part of it was you weren't just lying to America and the American people. You were lying to yourself to try to convince yourself that he was the best. You hate Donald Trump so much that you're willing to run someone who's not mentally stable to be president. This has been Weekend at Bernie's. Oh yeah, at the Republican National Convention, Hulk Hogan made a stop and made an appearance. And then the week later, after Hulk Hogan made his appearance, Joe Biden, not even a full week, Joe Biden steps down from the White House. Man, if we get Sting and Ric Flair, woo, in there, oh man, all the Democrats might just give up, and we might just be able put anyone we want to in the White House. So we bring a couple more professional wrestlers in there, and it might be completely over. I'm going to play all that clip. It's hilarious. I'm going to play that clip right now.
Americans, you better get ready. Because when Donald J. Trump becomes the President of the United States, all the real Americans are going to be nicknamed Trumpites. Because all the Trumpites are going to be running wild for 4 years. So with the power of Donald J. Trump and all the Trumpites running wild, America is going to get back on track. And like Donald J. Trump said, America is going to be great again. You know, when I look out and I see all the real Americans, I think about how Donald Trump, his family was compromised. When I look out there and I see Donald Trump, I think about how his business was compromised. But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero? And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again.
And I'm going to tell you what, we're going to put Joe Biden in a headlock. Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, yeah. We're going to put Kamala Harris in a headlock. Oh, yeah, we're going to get the nature boy, Ric Flair, woo, and put her in a figure 4. So you guess what? When the professional wrestlers start rooting and voting for the Republicans, people drop out of the presidential race. I'm just saying, we get a couple more 80s professional wrestlers, maybe it's all over. We get Sting, and we get, if we get Sting, and if we get Ric Flair in there, it's over, okay? That's all I'm saying. Hulk Hogan shows up, and a couple days later, Joe Biden's like, I can't take that. That is too much manliness. Oh, man. Guys, God bless you all, and you have a great day. Yo, yeah!